Welcome back to Blue Flag Bandits, the series that drives F1's worst cars since 2010, so you don't have to, in the usually pretty desperate hunt for points. And it's the Canadian Grand Prix of 2016, a race that I've said on a number of occasions in this series is my absolute favourite race. And normally we come into this one kind of targeting it as an opportunity to maybe pick up points because we've struggled. Obviously last season, not so much. This season as well seems to be going suspiciously well early doors, and I don't know whether to be concerned yet or not. We come to Montreal off the back of a Monaco Grand Prix where we picked up P4 on the road and got into Q2 for the first time this season and avoided damage, and mostly avoided damage anyway, and shenanigans to claim a wonderful result. And that means that in the standings we're 9th, 26 points on the board, 56 off the championship lead. I think that's the first time in this series I've actually referenced how far off the championship lead I am, with a knowing nod to the fact that actually that's not an insurmountable number of points. Don't worry, I don't think we're going to be taking the championship in a manner. Lewis Hamilton, though, does lead that championship battle by a single point ahead of Max Verstappen. That fight is a few years too early, but one that's going to be pretty entertaining. By the looks of it, it's Nico Rosberg also took the victory, moved real close. He's 3 points behind his teammate in his attempts to try and reclaim or recapture or defend, should we say, his 2015 title in our series, and actually mirror his 2016 real world title. Kimi Räikkönen not that far behind either, in 4th ahead of Vettel, then it's Button, Bottas and Ricciardo. Then we are just ahead of Massa and Perez, Alonso there in 12th, ahead of Hülkenberg, Sainz, Kvyat and Magnussen, and Pascal picked up points as well last time out, getting a 9th place. Thanks to a couple of penalties on the road in the end, but penalties that went our way. Pascal picks up 2 points to mean that both Manners have scored, and I think, other than last season in the McLaren, I think that's the first time that both drivers have scored while I've been driving for the team. I'm actually just putting together some big old workbooks, big old spreadsheets of my results. Well, the overall results from all of the seasons. In 2010, Lucas de Grassi didn't pick up points, and I've been the only point scorer, I think, for Lotus, Caterham and HRT prior as well, and Marussia. So, for the fact that Pascal has scored, fantastic news for us. Then it's point scorers, Jolyon Palmer, Felipe Nasr, Romain Grosjean, Marcus Ericsson, Esteban Gutierrez, which means in the constructors, Mercedes lead the way by 36 ahead of Ferrari, Red Bull. Max being kind of let down by Ricciardo so far, meaning that they're 51 points off the constructors' lead in 3rd. McLaren are 4th ahead of Williams and Force India. There we are in 7th, with Toro Rosso 12 behind us, Renault 26 behind us, and we're 28 clear of Sauber and Haas, neither of whom have got points. And this is Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, genuinely one of, if not my favourite, F1 circuit to drive. Although in this series hasn't been as successful as potentially I was hoping. I think we did take pole in our first season here, and last season we took points as well. But it hasn't been as strong as Singapore, weirdly enough. So it's one of those circuits that I really, really love driving, and I really, really want to do well. But also I know that this series has bitten me here before, which is a shame. But we're coming into this with confidence. It's been 6 rounds, where in every round we've looked potentially good enough to score points. Australia, maybe we would have been just falling short, but Bahrain we were running in them before colliding with Button. Obviously took points in China. We were running in the points with only a couple of laps to go in Russia before we were taken out by Carlos Sainz, and then obviously we took our points in Spain and Monaco. So we're on a run, and I think this car could really deliver here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Practice is probably going to be slow though, it always is. We're going to go do that practice. While we do, let's talk about the real world. 2016 Canadian Grand Prix. The Canadian Grand Prix was the next round of the championship, and despite finishing in the middle of the top 10 in the last round, Nico Rosberg still held the World Championship lead, but now only just under a race win clear of his teammate. Practice 1 would be a fairly clean one for most drivers, save for Felipe Massa, who suffered a DRS failure on the run into turn 1, his Williams ending up backwards at the barrier. He'd not be the only one who suffered issues, as Jenson Button's Honda power unit went up in smoke late on in P1. Hamilton would lead Rosberg and Vettel. There were less incidents in practice 2, as only Button found himself grazing the walls as he pushed for improvements. Hamilton would remain at the top of the times, though Vettel closed the gap, splitting the pair of Mercedes in the top 3. A rain shower interrupted running in the final practice session as many decided to park in the garage until conditions improved. As the track began to move to a dry state, Kevin Magnussen found himself in the barrier heavily at turn 7 with just 15 minutes of the session left, bringing it to a premature end. Magnussen got out of the car but was taken to the medical centre as a piece of his Renault remained in the barrier. Vettel led Verstappen and Rosberg. Magnussen wouldn't take part in qualifying, meaning one less car to be eliminated at the end of Q1 with skies darkening.
Fantastic. That was the fastest lap.
As rain arrived, Verlaine found himself in 14th, but the rain wouldn't intensify quickly enough for track conditions to deteriorate, the German being eliminated along with Palmer, Ericsson, Massa, Haryanto, and of course Magnussen. Q2 would deliver an early elimination as Carlos Sainz would clip the wall of champions and end up in the opposite barrier, curtailing his participation. He'd be joined in the drop zone by Perez, Button, Kvyat, Gutierrez and Grosjean. Q3 was sent to be a straight fight between the Mercedes pair, as has so often been the case, Hamilton drawing first blood. Rosberg kept his teammate honest, but the German made a mistake at the start of his final run, leaving the way clear for Hamilton to take pole ahead of Rosberg and Vettel. The top 10 would be completed by Ricciardo, Verstappen, Raikkonen, Bottas, Massa, Hülkenberg and Alonso.
But we also want to be comfortable and consistent. Let's find that balance.
Wouldn't be all the Mercedes way in the race though, as Vettel got a lightning start to lead him to turn 1, the Ferrari able to take the normal racing line, while Rosberg looked optimistically around the outside of Hamilton, the Mercedes banging wheels and sending Rosberg onto the grass. Ricciardo ran deep into turn 1 and had to avoid the rejoining Rosberg, having third place to Verstappen. Rosberg's start would get worse, as he was lunged by Hülkenberg into turn 6, the championship leader slipping down to 10th. Vettel looked to be clearing off at the front before locking up into the final chicane, cutting across the runoff and allowing Hamilton to close. The Ferrari man would, however, get his head down and pull away again until a near altercation with a pair of seagulls into turn 1, locking up and once again allowing Hamilton to close. Around the same time, Jenson Button would pull up on the back straight as his Honda power unit gave up. The virtual safety car deployed while it was recovered. Ferrari saw an opportunity to switch to a two-stop strategy, but as they brought both Vettel and Raikkonen in, Button's car was already behind the barriers as the SC ended, costing the Scuderia. Hamilton would see the lead as he made his one and only pit stop, but he would quickly close the gap to Vettel, who still needed to pit again, almost guaranteeing the Mercedes victory, barring any issues. While one Mercedes could cruise to the win, the other had spent much of the race dicing with traffic, getting within touching distance of snatching the podium before a late race puncture put paid to his chances. Hamilton would take the win ahead of Bottas and Vettel, the Finn taking Williams' first podium of the season in third. Verstappen, Rosberg, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Sainz and Perez would complete the points.
You've just put in the fastest lap. Good job.
Back at our favourite circuit after a strong Monaco race, can we deliver in Montreal? Well, we broke our Q1 duck last time out, we certainly can throw this car around the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. I would love to break into the top 10 here, but that might be just a bit too much of a stretch. So, let's try and match our best result from last time and aim for 11th place on the grid.
Good afternoon, and we hope you're ready for an exciting qualifying session as the teams make their final preparations here in Canada. When it comes to getting lap time out of this circuit, it's traditionally been about maximising top speed. Do you simply remove as much downforce as possible, hang on into the corners and max out down the straights?
The teams will have arrived with all manner of parts designed to capitalise on the long straights. The cars will be that much harder to drive in the corners, but everyone will be in the same boat.
Okay, we know it's going to be a struggle to get out of this session, but give it your best shot.
Thank you very much there, and Crofty. Jeff, still thinking it's going to be a struggle to get out of Q1. We did manage it in Monaco. And practice, as you saw, was an intermediate affair, and we actually ended the session 10th. Bone dry here in Canada for qualifying. However, I know my way around this place, and I really want to push to see if I can make it 2 Q2 appearances out of 2. It is going to be a struggle, because this car still is a little bit down on power, obviously. Thank you, Jeff.
Informed of any changes to the weather.
Looks like we're going to have a nice session at least. So, yeah, we're going to throw this car over some corners, over some curbs, and really push hard. Hopefully, we can, once again, scrap our little nana into Q2. But let's go see if that's an achievable target. Then look at our fastest lap in Q1 as we head down towards turns number 1 and 2. You can take an awful lot of curve there, but we're actually fairly steady with it on our first run through. Doesn't look too bad. A little bit wide on exit, which does cost us a little bit of time, but once again you can run the curves in 3 and 4 quite nicely. And again, not taking too much of a liberty through there as we head through this little bit in the middle, and yet another chicane on this lap. We're down at the end of the first sector, but we ride the curbs there quite nicely and slingshot the car out. It actually buys us just a little bit of time, maybe not as much as we would have hoped for, as we head down to another chicane. Again, you can really ride the curbs, and that's exactly what we do this time, gaining another little bit as we head towards the end of the second sector, down towards the hairpin on the bottom end of the lap. We're exactly 2 tenths up as we cross the beam, maybe run a little bit deep, but we can slingshot the car out of the hairpin quite nicely, moving it away from the barriers, and it's just the long back straight on the final chicane that we need to compete with. We are losing time though. We didn't quite get the purchase out of the hairpin as we had done on our last lap, so we know we need to send it through the chicane, and that's exactly what we do. Straight over the sausage curve, managed to avoid the wall of champions. Does compromise us for time a little bit. Stay to the line of least resistance, an improvement, hopefully enough to get through. Well, Q1 done and dusted, and through. Beaten by Pascal right at the death there. We were actually faster than him for pretty much the entire session, but both managed through into Q2 once again, at the expense, this time, of Gutierrez, Sainz, Palmer, Ericsson, Nasser, and Vettel. Didn't manage to set a time. Don't know what happened to Vettel. I wonder actually if it says anything here, any instance. Yeah, terminal damage. Sebastian Vettel put it in the wall somewhere by the looks of it. Possibly even the Wall of Champions, but that means Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari starts at the back of the grid. Both manners in Q2. This could be another good day. Have we got the pace to reach Q3? Probably not. But let's cross to Q2, see what happens. In the garage then for Q2 at Canada, 2 Q2 appearances in a row in the manor, and 2 double Q2 appearances in the manor in a row. Fantastic work by the team, fantastic for us, fantastic for Pascal. In terms of our rivalry though, we need to go out there and beat him, and I'd like to think that if I can hook up a clean lap, as Jeff tells me to get out there, if I can hook up a clean lap, I might be able to drag myself into P10. It's going to be a bit of an ask though, but let's see what we can do. To our fastest lap in Q2, and you can see we're right on the bubble with just less than a minute left of the session. Take an awful lot of curve through turn 1 this time around, which actually gives us just a small improvement as we head out of turn 2. But once again, not quite getting the exit we would have wanted, so we ride the curves quite a lot through 3 and 4. Again, it gives us a decent improvement, but the time is heading in the wrong direction as we head to the next chicane. Try and take it a little bit more steady through there, riding the curves, but only a little bit, just to try and point our way through as we head down towards the next chicane under the bridge. Again, knowing we really need to send it, we do run a little wide through the middle, but it's not too bad at all, and we are improving our time, even if it is still red, down towards the hairpin. Really, now or never in the final section of this lap. Really nicely through the hairpin this time and getting the power pretty early. But again, not quite as good an exit as our last lap, so it is all very much on the final chicane of the lap as to whether we can make it through. We know it's only about a tenth we need. So we get on the brakes really low, bounce over the sausage curb, throw it through, graze the wall of champions a little bit, stay to the right. And the time is looking good. It's just enough to get into Q3. Well, would you look at that, right at the very death, by 0.04 of a second, we pip Romain Grosjean and Fernando Alonso into P10. We're into Q3 for the first time this season at the expense of Grosjean, Alonso, Button, Wehrlein, Kvyat and Magnussen, and it took throwing the car through the final couple of corners, just about on the limit, you'd say. Actually bounced up on two wheels and nearly went into the wall of champions. Somehow got away with it. I don't think I've got tyres for Q3. We might just go out and get a banker lap in and start 10th, because I don't think I've got much more pace in me. But Q3, for the first time in 2016, what a result that is. Let's go see what we do in that final session. In the garage then, for the final part of qualifying in 2016, we're in the top 10 shootout at our favourite circuit, as I was kind of secretly hoping, but didn't think it was going to happen. Get a fresh set of tyres for this session, so we might as well go out and run some laps.
Any rain, but if a storm front does appear, then we'll let you know.
Thanks, Jeff. Could have done with some rain, to be honest. We might have been a bit more competitive. I don't think P10... I don't think anywhere higher than P10, should I say, is really on the cards here. But who knows? We've already seen Sebastian Vettel drop out of this session after not setting a time and putting it into a wall, I think, potentially. And there were some issues in Q2 as well, with cars slowing up. So let's get out there, get a lap in, see if we can elevate ourselves off P10. Let's take a look at our one and only lap in Q3. The site knew that we weren't really going to trouble anybody else, but we run through the curves in turn 1 really nicely there. Slingshot the car a little bit through turn 2 just to get a good exit as we head down towards the chicane at 3 and 4, and once again ride the curve on the entry, ride a little bit of the grass on the exit of the second part, but it keeps the pace up quite nicely. 21.6 for the first sector as we miss the impact on the end of the next chicane to try and stay tight on exit, just to give us a little bit of time back. Head down to the next chicane under the bridge, and much like the first two sessions, ride the inside curb, put the power down and ride through the middle of the next curve down towards the hairpin. Know that we've really probably not got the pace to improve, but it's a 45.6 is a decent second sector, but we get the hairpin all wrong and almost graze the wall on exit. Have to then put the power down and hope for the rest of this lap. But again, as I've said, knowing really that we probably don't have the pace to snatch any more positions in P10, this is already an achievement. Just trying to get a lap on the board into the final chicane, maybe a little bit more gingerly than we have been in the first two sessions, but still graze the wall on the exit. Staying to the right for the path of least resistance, and it's a 10th spot.
The grid is all set then for the race tomorrow, but before we go, let's quickly remind ourselves of our top three, who are Ricciardo, Hamilton and Max Verstappen. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
And in the end, Q3 was just a one-lap affair. Everybody, as you can see in the 13, something we'd not managed at all. Went out and got a lap on the board just to set a time. Daniel Ricciardo, though, takes pole by less than half a tenth ahead of Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, half a tenth, separating the top three. Nico Rosberg's in fourth, ahead of Kimi Räikkönen, Felipe Massa, Nico Hülkenberg, Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez. There we are, P10 in the manner. What a result. And I'm kind of hoping that this is a bit more of a sign of things to come, because we've got Q2 and Q3 in back-to-back races. This car feeling very, very lively as we get into the real business part of the season. We've seen what we can do from 11th. We've seen what we can do from 20th on the grid. Somewhere like this, who knows? Let's cross to the race. see what we can do.
There is, as I look out of my commentary box window, a very large and very excited crowd here today, eagerly anticipating another memorable race. Lewis Hamilton took his maiden win on this circuit in 2007. Jenson Button came from last place to win here in 2011. And there's certainly no shortage of drama on offer here at the Canadian Grand Prix. If you want flat-out racing, you've come to the right place this weekend, as it's full throttle for 59% of this 2.7-mile circuit, peaking at around 210 miles per hour going into the final chicane. But that speed requires discipline, and there are more than a few close walls here just waiting to punish drivers with a heavy right foot. It's a favourite for fans and drivers alike then here in Canada. We're used to seeing the unexpected happen here, and with me today to enjoy it all is Anthony Davidson, a man who knows firsthand the surprises that can pop up in this race.
I do indeed. I had a good chance at some points here in 2007, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. My old colleague Takuma Sato, though, he managed to finish 6th, so the team took home 3 valuable points, and that was a big boost to everyone at the time. I'm not sure I can think of anywhere else that so consistently provides the kind of late race excitement we get here. Obviously, towards the end of the Grand Prix, the brakes are getting worn, maybe the weather situation has changed, so there's a lot to keep fighting for all the way up to that final corner.
This is a really good starting position for us. Let's try not to lose it.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Daniel Ricciardo starts from pole position today, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Rosberg, Kimi Raikkonen and Massa, Hülkenberg, Bottas, Perez and Amana, Grosjean, Alonso, Jenson Button and Wehrlein, Kvyat, Magnussen, Esteban Gutierrez and Carlos Sainz, Palmer and Ericsson, Felipe Nasser and Sebastian Vettel starts from the back of the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Thank you very much there, and Crofty. P11. No, P10. What am I on about? P10 for the first time this season, getting into Q3. Sebastian Vettel out the back of the grid. My favourite circuit, a car that feels good right now in this part of the season, and a rivalry run. We've won our first rivalry against Pascal this season after drawing the first one and comprehensively beaten this time around. He's 14th. He even has a chance, I think, potentially, at scoring some points, depending on what happens in this race. It's not a long run to turn 1, but we've got, I think, decent pace to be able to compete. We're starting in the points, so points have got to be the thing that we're aiming for here, because you can't start 10th. Well, I've done it a few times in this series, but you can't really start 10th in a car like this that's performing well and then slide back into the pack. As I said, at the end of qualifying, we've seen what we can do from even lower on the grid. So, from 10th we should be scoring. I want to just maintain though. As I said, it's not a long run into turn 1. And there's a long back straight, and you know, the AI in this game, the shenanigans that we've seen, we've got to be careful. So I'm going to aim for P10. Let's just try and pick up another point. Anything more than that is going to be an absolute bonus. But we've really got to work for it here, I think. So, let's go to work. Get those 5 red lights on and out again for the 2016 Canadian Grand Prix. There's the 5th red light, and away we go at Canada. Hülkenberg's had a terrible start. Max has not done so well either. It's compromised both Bottas and Perez. We're on the outside, on the grass a little bit. We get a warning for a collision with Hülkenberg. I didn't think I'd actually got anywhere near the Force India. We've been definitely compromised as Alonso looks to our outside, but hold him off. He's had a different strategy to us as well. Send it on Perez, and it works up to P9, so we have at least moved forward. Middle of this first lap, it wasn't the best start, got on the grass and Found ourselves struggling for grip, but we survived. No damage, no harm, no foul. So we head down to the hairpin. Hulkenberg in a Williams sandwich. Massa doesn't seem to be moving particularly quickly either. A little gap to Perez behind as well. Final chicane though is where we can gain an awful lot of time, as somebody has been very slow through there and will take a big dive. I think it was Rosberg who was slow. He's struggling with Verstappen. We've got Hulkenberg on our inside having to take to the grass to avoid the Force India. But we will get up the inside and we're up to P7. Has the pace on us. We're forced to the outside. But again, there's problems at the final chicane. I think Rosberg might have hit the wall of champions.
Green flag. Green flag. We're racing again. Okay, entering lap 3 now.
That really
DRS
gives us a big boost. We've just passed our way into 4th as we start the 3rd lap. Verstappen and Rosberg, I think, went in there side by side. Rosberg's come off worse. Massa's gained a couple of places. Raikkonen's lost out. We've really gained. We've gone from 7th to 4th. We are now very much going to be under pressure. First from Felipe Massa. All over the show there. Keep Williams behind us though, and there's a bit of breathing room behind him.
Okay, gap ahead is 2.7 seconds.
We're struggling against Felipe Massa this lap. It's down from bouncing over the sausage curb at the final chicane the last lap. Raikkonen's coming as well. We're going to be on the outside of 3 into the chicane. We have to get on the sausage curb. Novel way of defending the position as we go sideways. Still hold on to 4th for now. Again, hold on to 4th into turn 1. No damage from that little excursion, fortunately. Stay to the left-hand side of this back straight. I wonder if Massa's headed in with us. That he is. Everybody else seemingly staying out at the moment. Pascal is in the points, so he's going well as well. I think there was some issues on lap 1. Massa has managed to jump us in the pits though.
Only 1 stop to go. 1 stop left in this strategy.
Down to 16th spot on the rejoin. Just in front of the house of Gutierrez. This has gone on to the soft tyre. I don't know whether he's going to try and make that work to the end. Immediately on the back of this queue, it includes Sainz. I think Vettel and Kvyat are in there as well, potentially. DRS off Massa. We can go on the attack towards the chicane. Not going to be close enough though. It would have to have been one hell of a dive, and it nearly was anyway. Such as our pace up towards the final chicane. A couple of guys in the pits. Big dive at the inside of about 4 drivers through on Kvyat, Magnussen and Sainz into turn 1. Didn't mean to do that, but it worked. We're into P10. Back into the points. Held my breath for a second there.
Virtual safety car. Reduce speed immediately and keep a positive delta.
Nico Hulkenberg is out, so we've got a VSC. It was all a bit sudden. Let's try and stay close-ish to button. Everyone's going to pit under the VSC. pace on the cars in front. Thanks to the fact we're on the ultra softs and they're on the tyres they started the race on. But these strategies are all a bit mixed up.
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until the green flag. VSC ending. Wait for green.
The green flag, we're right up behind Jenson Button. VSC for the Force India. Think about a dive on Button there. Backed out of it. Chance on Button here into the hairpin. We'll take it. Means I might be vulnerable to the DRS cutback. Well, that's fun, no? Apparently not. We get the DRS, so we should pull away from Button. We'll catch up to Jolyon Palmer soon enough. Cars are in the pits. Perez, one of them. Rosberg 2, so we're back in front of Nico Rosberg.
The gap behind is 0.6 seconds.
That's on Palmer as we bounce through the final chicane. Looking outside of the Renault, giving the space. Make the move though, we're back up to 5th. I was in the pits, Verlaine's at 4th.
Just taken the lead.
Now, yet to pit. Jolyon Palmer, Jenson Button behind us, yet to pit. There's that big group of cars as well that includes Massa, stuck behind Magnussen, Kvyat. They also yet to pit. Raikkonen has come out just behind Button and Palmer. So at least we've jumped Kimi again. Now pits from 4th, so we'll take that. And they're in as well. Raikkonen have gone to the softs. I think Hamilton went to the ultra softs. So it'll be the same as Ricciardo. So it's still a mixed up strategy at the front. And then Massa went to the softs as well. So it might be the odd one out there. At the moment, they're driving ourselves into a good position, I think.
Conditions should remain dry. We will keep you informed of any changes to the weather.
Rosberg made it past Raikkonen a couple of laps ago. Don't seem to have much to defend, but we'll keep him behind us for now. Not going to give up spots easily, despite the fact he'll be lacking in pace to the leaders. Get me here though, as soon as we get into DRS. But he's there before the line. Yeah, stay to the inside. There goes the Mercedes. There goes Rosberg into 4th, we set the 5th. And we're pitting at the end of this lap.
Okay, you're within 1 second of the car ahead. Get ready to use DRS to overtake.
We come then for our second and final stop of the day. A few spots. I'd assume these guys are going to be pitting.
They're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
So Button, Perez, Bottas will go by. Verlaine will go by as well here. But it's not a especially long pit lane. There goes Verlaine, Kvyat 2.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you
Well,
cross over into the track.
Right behind Kvyat and Verlaine. Get back to Sainz. Going to the end on these tyres.
Okay, some information on Perez. They have an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Perez is slowing down. We heard Ericsson was while we were in the pits, but he's behind us. Perez on the ground. Is ahead of us. be able to use that to catch up to the Force India. Verline currently holding up Kvyat, just trying to the back of this battle. Bounce off the wall, wheel first, fortunately.
Okay, distance to teammate 0.5 seconds.
What we'll think about that into turn one. Sensibly, I think, in the end. Definitely in this fight. Vettel, though, is now the man behind us. So we need to make moves sooner rather than later as we spook Kvyat out the way. We're through. Back into P11. Nice Verline to get away a little bit. Putting some breathing into Kvyat, but I might be about to depose him of the points.
Pascal is directly ahead of you.
Back of Verline down towards the hairpin. Should be a fairly straightforward move. Now fighting it a little bit though. Don't blame him. Vettel is coming. I've got DRS Pascal, right? Apparently, fast in a straight line as we bounce off the wall, wheel first and Ken getting lucky with the not getting damage. As Pascal once again has a look, both closing on Perez, who's still limping the looks of it. Ericsson has kind of started moving at his normal pace again. Verline sticking with us. Maybe we can both catch and pass Perez. The P9 as well. Somebody's pitted. Didn't notice who.
Okay, some information on Perez. They're speeding up again, so I expect they fixed whatever the problem was.
There's a nice streak away from us. Unfortunate because he's not far ahead.
Conditions to remain dry for a while.
He's going to get DRS, and there he goes. P9 and 10, I have to take off over the curb in a little bit there, though, to avoid Pascal. He then backs right off. All over the place into turn one now as well. Pascal's now got Vettel for company. Should really give the place back, but wasn't really left a huge amount of options there.
Our gap to our teammate is 3.3 seconds.
Button for company after he passed Verline. I think Vettel went in the pits. Button now on a super soft. Surely he's got a pit again, but nearly finds a way around us. Yellow flag, I think Nico Rosberg's out. Nico Rosberg out of this Grand Prix. And it is the VSC again.
Maintain a positive delta. Virtual safety car is deployed.
It's come to a stop on the circuit there. VSC with Jenson Button earlier in the Grand Prix. With him again for the second VSC of this race. We're in front of him this time. Rosberg was in front of us, so we move up to P8. I think that brings Pascal back in the points. Rosberg's car.
VSC ending, we're going green. Maintain positive
The end of the VSC had to really slam on the brakes to avoid speeding. Compromises us a little bit. Stay ahead of Button for now though. Verline is closed right up too. Surely then these guys have got a pit again. There goes Button to our inside before we could even look at where he was. wide. Verline now there as well. Verline's pushed us off.
What happened? Let me know you're okay.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It's a good result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
Probably Carlos Sainz. You know, strong pace, good work with the strategy, just a very complete drive, I think.
And here's how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes have extended their lead at the top of the standings. Another team that excelled today was Williams, who make further progress up the table. Well, what a weekend that has been. Please join us next time for another thrilling instalment of this Formula One season.
Well, for the second time this season, we are dumped out of a Grand Prix while in a strong points position, and by Pascal, no less. Oh, there are going to be some words in the motorhome after that one. Lewis Hamilton takes the win, Daniel Ricciardo in second, Max Verstappen in third, and then it's Massa, Raikkonen, Perez, Button, Bottas and Magnussen, before Pascal does get a P10 and a solitary point on the board for us. Could have been so much better. Could have been better. Carlos Sainz finishes 11th ahead of Palmer, Gutierrez, Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel down in 15th in the end ahead of Kvyat, Grosjean, Felipe Nasr, Marcus Ericsson, and then those of us that didn't finish, myself, Nico Rosberg and Nico Hulkenberg. And what does that do to the driver standings? Well, Lewis now extends his lead to 11 points. Nico Rosberg slips to 28 points back, level with Kimi Räikkönen, and Vettel remains 5th ahead of Jenson Button. Ricciardo jumps up to 7th ahead of Bottas. Massa and Perez jump me. We're now behind them and outside the top 10 in 11th. Fernando Alonso is 12th ahead of Hulkenberg, Sainz, Kvyat, Magnussen, Pascal there in 17th. And then it's the 0 point scorers: Palmer, Nasr, Gutierrez, Romain Grosjean, Marcus Ericsson. In the Constructors, Mercedes still lead by 43 points, but Red Bull move into second as Ferrari slip to third, Williams move up to fourth, and McLaren slip to fifth. And then it's as you were: Force India, Mana, Toro Rosso, Renault, and then Sauber and Haas. And just F1 2016 things there, really. We had Jenson Button to one side. I knew that Pascal was going to attack the other way, so I tried to kind of back off. Well, not even back off. I tried to just give everybody the space, and then before you know it, you've got a nose in the diffuser, and then that's it. You're out. And another opportunity goes begging for the fourth time this season. 2 DNFs, 2 results where we ended up outside the points, but finished the race. 3 point scoring results so far this season. The next race is also probably not going to be any easier, as the European Grand Prix makes its one and only return to the calendar after a little bit of a break. Obviously, we had the 3 seasons of European Grand Prix at Valencia. This time, it's the first race at the Baku City Circuit. And if Russia and here are anything to go by, we might not finish. Especially seeing as it's the first time for everybody. Hopefully you'll join me for that. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. I'll see you for the next one in Azerbaijan for the European Grand Prix. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.